And that was my 2023. There was lots of movie promos, there were conventions, there happened to be a severe stomach illness brought on by salmon, and now I literally can't even look at a piece of grilled salmon without throwing up anymore. But hey, shit happens, literally. Hi y'all, SnarkyJay cosplay here. I know I'm a little late on this sort of video, but my 2024 did get off to a weird start, so better late than never. In this video, I'd love to go over some of my high and low points all through 2023, and at the end of this video, I want to go over some of my resolutions as a content creator for 2024. So if you're not interested in what I did in 2023, feel free to skip to the end, but in my unbiased opinion, I definitely think it's worth sticking through. So with that said, let's get started. In January of 2023, I actually accomplished the biggest cosplay build I've ever done. It was my Optimus Prime, and while it did get some weird responses online, it's honestly one of my favorite things I've ever made. I really put it together entirely myself out of EVA foam except for the helmet. It took a lot of work, pretty much non-stop 16-hour days, but I was really happy with how it turned out. February was not really a month to write home about, though I did go to the Florida Renaissance Festival with my dad as Wonder Woman, which was a really fun outfit to wear, and of course the food was immaculate, as you can tell by this clip. Definitely one of the highlights. March was easily one of the most busy months of the entirety of 2023. I basically kicked it off doing some promo work for Shazam 2. I ended up getting invited to a red carpet where I got to meet Zachary Levi, who was an absolute sweetheart, so despite my feelings about that movie, it was a really good time. And after that, I went right into doing promos for John Wick 4. Not only did I get to see it at an early screening, which was pretty cool, but I also got to go to an event at the local animal shelter, since John Wick is all about dogs. There was of course snacks and other influencers, but I basically abandoned the party in favor of sitting in this pit of puppies and just playing with them for like the whole 2 hours that I was there. I came out chewed up, peed on, and just messy as hell and smelling like wet dog, but it was 100% one of the better times I had the entire year. So at the end of March / beginning of April, I had something really big come up in my life, and I actually got to guest at MegaCon Orlando. I know I don't really talk about cosplay super often on this channel because that's not really what you guys are here for, but I've been cosplaying for 7 years, and MegaCon is one of those events that I go to every year, so getting to have a table there was really cool, to be honest. At a few points I actually had people like line up to talk to me, and part of me was like, sorry, why? But it was honestly a really cool experience to have people line up to buy prints and taking pictures with people, and I had a bunch of people come up and be like, hey, I know you from YouTube. And based on my comments section, that's honestly a little terrifying, because part of me is like, and how do you feel about that YouTube? But I really had a super positive experience, so that was awesome. And my dad and I also did make it out to Medieval Times while we were in Orlando for MegaCon, which is always a good time. Also at the beginning of April, I ended up finishing my brand new craft room, which has really made crafting a whole lot easier. Everything I've ever built, I've done on the living room floor of my house, so having a dedicated area for all my tools and my crafting has really just made things so much easier. And it's gonna make what I've got planned for this year even better. Now, at the end of April, I had literally one of the greatest nights of my life, which I'm aware that when I explain what that was, it's gonna sound really corny, but I was a band kid for 7 years. I was actually band captain, first chair tenor saxophone, sax section leader, all that good stuff. So basically, I actually was invited to see a full orchestra play the entire soundtrack of The Batman along with the movie. I got to dress up real nice to go see it, and it was literally amazing. As a former band kid who knows what it takes to play these scores, it was absolutely incredible, and genuinely, I walked out of there and I couldn't wipe the smile off my face for like 3 days. On May the 4th specifically, I actually had the huge pleasure of going on my first troop with the 501st Legion. As you can see, I do Mara Jade with the 501st. Here I am with my good buddies Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine. It was honestly so cool to do. I'd never been able to troop before, so it was really nice getting out there. The guys in my squad are the absolute sweetest, so that was a really good time. Later in the month of May, I actually had an additional 2 promo events for movies. I did one for About My Father, which starred Robert De Niro and Sebastian Maniscalco. I had the pleasure of meeting Sebastian Maniscalco, and I took my own own father to the event where we made gelato, so that was honestly really fun. And after that, probably one of my most controversial events of the year was getting to meet Sasha Calle while I was dressed as Supergirl for the premiere of The Flash. But honestly, Sasha was so sweet that meeting her while dressed as her version of Supergirl will probably go down as one of the highlights in my cosplay career for good, because that was honestly super exciting. June was basically owned entirely by Transformers, I'm not even gonna lie. I started off the month with some promo for the movie where I went to K1 Speed for some go-kart racing, and then I also got to go to an early screening of it. As you can see here, I am getting too comfortable with Optimus Prime, but I can't help it. The heart wants what it wants, and what the heart wants is Truck Daddy.
Stop it. Get some help.
At the end of the month, I also was a guest at Florida SuperCon, and one of the highlights of being at SuperCon for me was this panel that I got to do. I worked with Babs Tarr, who is one of my favorite DC artists. I also got to work with Travis McElroy, who is a prolific content creator and podcast dude, and genuinely one of the coolest people I ever met, Kim Rhodes, who is the mom from Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. We were all on this panel together as successful creators. It was so exciting and so humbling to hear these people's stories and to be asked questions like I was relevant. It was just really cool for me. I kicked off July with a little bit of promo work for the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, Mutant Mayhem. We got to go to the Illusions Museum where I not only met the Turtles, which was really cool, I'm like a lifelong Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, but as you can see, we also had some fun with the illusions. Here I am getting ready to stomp on my dad. And I also got to do some promo work for Barbie. We ended up going to an early screening of Barbie, which happened to be on the 18th of July, which is my birthday, and that was really, really cool for me. I kind of felt like, wow, all these people are here dressed in pink to celebrate me. August was genuinely one of the worst months of my life, probably, and I'm gonna tell you why. So at the end of July, literally like July 31st, I competed in my Optimus Prime build at Tampa Bay Comic-Con. And I'm not gonna lie, as somebody who's judged plenty of cosplay contests, and I kind of saw what else was out there, I genuinely expected a win, and I didn't get it. I'm not gonna get into why I think I didn't get it, but the point is, I didn't get the win, and I was devastated. And I decided, you know what? I could stay in the room crying about this, or we could go out and get a bite to eat. And I should have just stayed in the room crying, because my dad and I ended up at this dog restaurant on the water. I had some grilled salmon, which used to be one of my favorites, and I got food poisoning so bad that it turned into infectious colitis, and I had to go to the hospital, and I was basically useless for the first 2 whole months of August. And if you're not familiar with infectious colitis, please Google it, because I'm not gonna get into what that is on this channel, but I can tell you that it hurts, it quite literally stinks, and I would probably not wish it on my worst enemy. Thankfully, by the end of August, I was done just living off of Gatorade and Ritz crackers, and my mom and I took a trip down to Disney World to do Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. Yes, I did Halloween in August. Yes, I did it dressed as Jack Sparrow. I am that kind of delusional. In September, on a more personal note, I crossed off one of my bucket list items, which was going to my first concert ever. I'm a big rock alt fan, but most of the bands that I really like to listen to are like dead or retired. So I'd never been to a concert before, and I actually made the trip up to Alpharetta, Georgia in order to see none other than Arctic Monkeys live, and it was seriously one of the best nights of my life. I still think about it all the time, and that was really, really exciting for me. In that same month of September, I actually spent a lot more time being Wonder Woman than I usually do. I did about 10 or 15 charity events over the course of the whole year, but like 2 or 3 of them were in September, and I also did a photo shoot with my good friends Mateo and Tim, and one of my favorite photographers on the planet, Jerry Kestel. We really got some great photos out of that photo shoot, and it's honestly so rewarding working with people that you really like working with. That was genuinely one of the highlights of my year, was doing this photo shoot. I mean, come on. Look at these pictures. October was also pretty busy for me. I went to my first TFCon, that is Transformers Con, with my best friend and his wife. Here we are at Medieval Times, because I try to go to Medieval Times every time I'm in Orlando. Well, I can tell you I probably wouldn't go to Transformers Con again because I'm used to conventions where people are like zesty and dressed up and not just like walking around pulling action figures out of a plastic bucket, which I don't know why I expected anything different. There was something really cool that happened to me. I actually went to a live script reading with some of the original voice actors from not only Transformers G1 but also Beast Wars. I auditioned, me and like 15 other women auditioned for the role of RC, and they gave it to me. If you look right here, I'm the little one on the far left there in the black and red jacket, and I got my script signed by everybody that was there, so that was really freaking cool. The weekend right after TFCon, I got flown out of Florida for my first out-of-state convention. I got flown all the way to Washington State. The convention was in Renton, and before the convention, my dad and I ended up exploring quite a bit of Seattle. We went to the Seattle Space Needle, we went to the Museum of Pop Culture, we also ended up going to Pike's Market. As far as the convention goes, I don't have much to say there, but exploring Seattle was really fun, and of course I got to do it with my dad, who I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing about, but that was a really good time. Now, of course, as things tend to do, in November, everything was slowing down. I basically took a personal trip up to Universal Studios Orlando, and I got to ride the Transformers ride for the first time, which, again, you guys already know that I'm like unhealthily into Optimus Prime, so that was really, really fun for me. In December, there really wasn't much to write home about. Right before Christmas, my best friend and I took a trip up to Orlando for Holiday Matsuri, which is my favorite Christmas-themed convention. And while my looks, of course, were part of the highlight for me because I love getting to dress up and look absolutely fabulous for several days at a time, I honestly really enjoyed our dinners more than the convention itself. We ended up going to not just the Rainforest Cafe, but also the T-Rex Cafe. And if you're really childish and foolish and in Orlando, like I was, I can tell you right now, both of those places are so worth going to. And that was my 2023. Sure, there were ups and downs, there was lots of movie promos, there were conventions, there happened to be a severe stomach illness brought on by salmon, and now I literally can't even look at a piece of grilled salmon without throwing up anymore, but hey, it happens, literally. As far as my content creation this year goes, I do have a few resolutions that I would love to share with you guys because I feel like putting things out there really sort of helps manifest these things. So, first and foremost, I would love to get to attend more conventions out of the state. I'm not just a cosplayer anymore, I'm also a content creator, and I really love the relationship that I've built with you guys here on YouTube. It's really just as important to me as the folks that I have on Instagram. So for me, it would be an absolute pleasure to be able to see more of you guys across the states, maybe even across the pond in Europe or anywhere else for that matter. It would be really cool for me to get to do more conventions, so that's probably number one on my resolutions list. Number two is doing more reviews. I have a lot of fun doing sort of social commentary in regards to the entertainment industry, but I feel like sometimes I just want to review and recap shows and movies, so I definitely want to go back to doing a little bit more of that. My third resolution is to probably be a little bit better about not listening to stupid comments. As much fun as I have kind of just being snarky in response to people, it does sort of take a toll and you find yourself like literally just like, just ready to fight like all the time because I'm so used to people saying stupid shit. And it does kind of have like a negative effect, so I'm trying to get better about not listening to those as much. And for my fourth resolution, I find that I get a lot of complaints about a certain part of my anatomy that does tend to be on camera, and I just feel so guilty that, you know, I've held everybody prisoner here, you know, that I've done so much damage, like as a person, and that I've offended so many people with my cleavage, that as I look back on 2023, as much good as I might have done in charity events, as good as I might have felt at conventions and stuff, I'm kidding. If you guys ever think that I'm gonna change the way I dress because somebody complains about 2 inches of cleavage, you got another thing coming, son. That's just gonna stay. That's not even a resolution, not more or less. Whatever it is we're just gonna keep rolling with it. I, for the most part, have had a great 2023, certainly creating content for you beautiful people and my friends over on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. It has been a highlight of my year. I love what I do, and honestly, my goal for 2024 is just to keep doing more and more of it. If you guys have any requests, anything you want to see, whether it's getting into gaming, streaming, reviewing games, any movies or shows you know are coming up that you would like to see me review, please let me know in the comments. I read every single comment myself. I'm sure you guys know this. I definitely want to hear more from you guys, and I would love to kick off 2024 in a big way so that we can all enjoy content creation together. And that's all from me. I've been SnarkyJay. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. For more SnarkyJay, be sure to check me out on Instagram, and if you'd like to support my content creation while getting access to some fabulous photo shoot content in the process, please be sure to check out and subscribe to my Patreon. It really helps me and the channel, and I appreciate all your support. I will add links to both of these in the description below, and let me know your thoughts on my 2023 and 2024 resolutions in the comments below.